This is The Healing Path with White Wolf on Atzigen. I'm Randy Moggins from OffPlanetRadio.com, and this is the third session in the series, which is aimed at healing those who desire recovery from trauma, pain, toxic lifestyles, and mind control. Today we're going to discuss protection frequencies and symbols. If you're new to the series, we recommend going back and listening to the previous sessions, as they're the groundwork for this session. White Wolf can be found at waysofthewildinstitute.com, where you'll find more information about survival, healing, and natural solutions. And now we join our teacher for this session. So greetings, White Wolf.
Thank you, Randy. Good to be here again.
It's good to have you back. That was a great show that we did 2 weeks ago. I'm getting compliments on it. The shows are getting out there, and people are partaking of it. And I'm not sure where you want to go on this show tonight, but I thought maybe we could pick up with some things that have been kind of directed to me over the last week or so. And one of them has to do with protection strategies, specifically spiritual protection strategies. A lot of people that I'm in communication with are what we call TIs, targeted individuals, but I think we want to even address this as much as possible for just normal folks out there that maybe feel the energetics coming in, or feel that they're kind of dealing with some of the evil that weaves itself around the planet. And this coming Wednesday night is the summer solstice. That's a time of some pretty high ritual sacrifices by certain Kabbalist groups. So I thought maybe we could go through that, and also some strategies for being hidden energetically, and strategies for dealing with stalking.
Mm-hmm. Well, that would actually tie together in a nice, neat package. And that was one of the areas that I had planned on getting to during the series. And since I've been so busy this week, I haven't had much time to think about what I was going to present, so I had figured, well, it was either going to be energy protection or release work and things. So since that has been the point of focus by some listeners, and also the fact that, yes, summer solstice is right around the corner, that might be the best way to go right now. And, after we get into the grounding aspect, the next major steps during the self-healing process, at least with my self-healing, that actually came down to a few different areas as to which could be next in line. Mm-hmm. And what I found over the years is that it really is an individual perspective on which level can actually come next in the person's healing path. It can either be energy protection, it could either be release and transformation work. It could also be a lot of energy clearing work, and those three are pretty high, on the second step. But yeah, so we're definitely going to get into energy protection then tonight.
Cool.
I think that's a good one to go to.
I think that's a great one for this time.
Yeah. And through the course of this series, I plan on presenting grounding, which we already did, energy protection, which we'll cover tonight, release and transformation work, forgiveness work, inner child work, identification of and unification of alter personalities, how to deal with that. Triggering, that's going to take an entire hour at least.
That's a big one.
Yeah. So there's quite a few things we'll be discussing throughout this series. But as far as energy protection, this is absolutely huge and an absolute essential in the toolbox of anyone going through self-healing. If I didn't do all the work that I do all the work that I teach on a daily basis, you know, I might not be an individual that anybody could live with. You know, simply because this is a lifelong process, the healing process. And like I said before, there's no end result. It's simply a quality of life. And anybody who has been specifically utilized, coming out of hardcore mind control programs, blackout programs, ritual programs, cult activities, etc., you know, this is truly a lifelong process of removing yourself and transforming your life. But it does not mean that once you get to a certain level that you're no longer targeted, because that's not the case.
Right.
They continue to try to get you back in.
Can I just inject this? Do you have the sense, I've had the sense for a long time, that there are just people that are targeted from the cradle, that we come in kind of tagged. Would you agree with that, or is in some cases, or maybe none?
Absolutely, I agree with that. Yes, 100%. I was one of them, which I went into in the first show that we did, the beginnings. Yes, there are many people who are targeted from birth and even before. And a lot of these people are actually coming from what we term the trapped souls. In other words, in a lifeline prior, which is actually simultaneous existence, which we can also get to later on in the series. During the time of crossover from physical to non-physical, the soul is actually siphoned off and trapped in a specific area of the astral, which is actually called the Astral Prison, or the White Prison. And this is where the trapped souls reside until the groups, the individuals, this includes physical beings as well as non-physical and interdimensional beings, decide that they have a further use for that soul in physical reality. At that point, they then interject that soul into a physical body, and then that soul is born into physical reality. And then they are immediately, you know, tagged, and a path is dictated for them. So we can definitely get into that later on in the series, if there's interest for it.
I can tell you right now there's interest in that, because what you just outlined there brings up a whole host of issues that I see repeatedly coming up in different conversations and different threads. So yeah, that's big stuff. Yeah,
well, we can definitely touch on that later on after we cover some good hardcore basics.
Yeah.
So if I don't remember that, make sure to bring it back up.
Absolutely.
So yes, you know, and you don't have to come out of a Black Ops program or, you know, some elite military group or some political faction. You don't have to come out of the Committee of 300 or come out of cult experiences to be targeted. You know, everybody is being targeted in one fashion or another, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in today's world. This is a simple fact. The majority of it is done through satellite technology. Anybody who has followed my work and presentations in the past, and anybody who has read my long article on my website, where I talked about subterranean bases and cities and the energy network that's subterranean in nature, as well as the correspondence to the atmospheric energy web, the artificial frequency web that surrounds the Earth, connecting to the moon, satellites, etc., etc., understands full well that everybody is under bombardment. Some people are more specifically targeted. Most of the time, this has to do with something they've been involved with in the past. Whether they have a conscious memory of it or not is besides the point.
Right.
It is in there. The memory of it is in there. However, the memory of it, if they're not consciously aware of it, is primarily held and protected by an alter personality. And the bombardment, the energy bombardment, can not only come from a specific individual who could be a mentalist. Remember, the difference between a psychic and a mentalist is quite different. A psychic is able to see and view only. Mm-hmm. They do not have the capabilities of actually manipulating the frequencies they're viewing. They are simply a recorder. They simply view what they see. Okay. A mentalist is somebody who can view and then actually manipulate the frequencies of an individual or place or thing. So it doesn't have to be simply an individual who is targeting another individual or a group. It can be an entire government organization. It can be an entire religious faction. It can be a fanatical group. It can be a cult. They can use technology, not just their mental capabilities, but they use technology quite often to target people. They can actually target somebody's specific frequency using satellites and literally bombard a single individual on the face of the earth via satellite with microwaves, extra low frequency, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. But this also branches into off-world. Certain off-world groups will target individuals or groups using their own technology. And you can also breach into the non-physical existence, for example, the astral realm. Many astral entities target individuals on a regular basis. Especially individuals who have allowed themselves to open vital areas of the body to astral influences. And this can be done through drugs, alcohol, sexuality, very low mind pattern vibrations, tons of stuff. So energy bombardment can come from a wide variety of angles, and many times people who are specifically targeted are being targeted from numerous angles. And so we also have to realize that it's not just the individual. Myself for an example, because, I know my own life the best, I'm not only targeted by the organization who used to employ me, but I'm also targeted by two different specific Illuminati families. I'm also targeted by astral entities, specifically the ones connected to the demonic energy which was laced into my mind during very early childhood and even in the womb. But there's also a specific off-world group who is actually in alignment with the major Illuminati plans that also work to target me.
It feels like the deck's stacked against us. I'm sitting here and I'm going, oh my God, does this ever stop?
Yeah, and it's not just me personally. They also
I
target.
know it's not. You just
Yeah, but I mean, anybody who's specifically targeted, like myself, for example, they're also targeting not only me but my son and my wife, because they are my support group. They're also targeting bank accounts that I have. Mm-hmm. They've been shut down numerous times. They also target my business. Okay, because they, Google was created by the sister agency, the CIA.
Sure.
And so all search engines are completely monitored and manipulated. So any site that's out there that they don't want to be out there, they don't actually try to shut the site down so much anymore. Certain sites they do. instead, it's so much easier for them to manipulate the search engines.
Yes, that's my experience. Yeah.
So it's very hard for people to find your site.
Yes.
So this energy attack comes from all fronts and attacks all fronts. Now, what the heck do we do about it?
Well, I was hoping you were going to give us some answers, because after that, I'm like, wow. The deck really is kind of stacked. I mean, it's just staggering when you go through the list. And everything that you listed there, I know about, but I don't think I ever consciously sit down and do that, and that was probably a good inventory.
Yeah, and I hit the basics. I could probably spend at least 2 hours just going into the details of where these attacks come from, why they come, the dynamics of them, etc., etc. But that's really extraneous information right now for people. The simple fact is that it's there, and so we need to learn how to deal with it. Because anybody who is trying to embark on a self-healing path and raise a frequency and attain a level in their life where they can embrace their core purpose in this life needs to understand how to protect themselves, because that is the number one thing that will undermine, from an external source, that will undermine every single thing that you try to do. Internally, before we actually get into protection work, internally, you have the capacity to dismantle your own protection work. And this is done through self-sabotage, and this comes from an internal programmer, which is actually a section of your mind that has been programmed to keep the programs running in order, that they have been inlaid and downloaded. And so the internal programmer is there to keep tabs on what's going on, how your programs are running and functioning, how your daily life is evolving within the program matrix, and to interject any time that you try to stray away from it. Anytime you get this little brainstorm that, hey, I don't think I want to do this anymore because it just doesn't seem very beneficial. Your internal programmer steps in, and self-sabotage literally sets you up for the fall from the inside out. And so this is something that you have to be very cautious of when you are trying to work your self-protection, your energy protection techniques. Because if you're doing the techniques properly, they will hold. This is a guarantee. I use them 24/7. I never stop using them. I have trained areas of my mind to monitor these protection techniques so that I do not have to consciously focus on them every moment of every day and night. And this takes practice. This takes diligence. In the beginning, it's very laborious. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. It becomes second nature, and you find that even when you're not thinking about it, there's an aspect of your mind that's automatically doing it for you. However, if your energy shields continue to fall, if you put them up and 10 minutes later you feel that they're gone, if you put them up and 2 hours later you feel that they are gone, they're not being removed from an outside source. Because if you're doing the technique the way I will lay it out here in a while, all right, it is extremely difficult to dismantle it. There are energy protection techniques out there being taught by people that are very easy to dismantle. And in the training facility, when we were being trained for assassination, we were also being trained for astral assassination. It was not my specialty, but I was trained how to do it. I know how to do it. And we were trained how to dismantle, frequency-wise, energy protection frequencies. Any kind of protection frequency that's out there, the mainstream stuff, we were taught how to dismantle. And I'll get into that as well. So, if you're doing it properly, and they keep falling, it means that you are breaking them down from the inside out. And you need to keep tabs on this. And this is why I always hesitate as to what to present first after grounding. Because energy protection is very powerful, but if you continue to eat it from the inside, it's a lot of work for very little outcome and success. And so you also have to work on trying to pay attention to the time frame your energy protection lasts. Find out if there's a certain time of day or night where it's easier for you to do it. Find out if there's a certain time of day or night where it lasts longer than others, because this will give you clues to find alter personalities and programs that are actually aligned with a cyclic pattern in your daily existence. And it will give you a great ruler or check mark to be able to navigate this later on in your self-healing work and dismantle and actually unify, transform those programs into your core so that you gain control of them. But anyway, let's get back to the energy protection. Energy protection is based upon frequency, like anything else. And it has to do with a very specific set of frequencies that will combine in the end result to create one grand frequency that actually is a compilation of the many different layers of energy protection. One layer of energy protection today does not work. Even as little as a decade ago, one layer of energy protection would have served you for 2, 3, sometimes even 4 days. But today, if you do one layer of energy protection, you're going to find that it is null and void by the time 3-4 hours pass. Especially if you are a heavily targeted individual. A single layer of energy protection is absolutely useless. Now, energy protection techniques, they work wonders and they are an essential tool, but it also means that you have to work your mind patterns. My Eagle Mind DVD set, which is a 10 full-length DVD set, has just been released today, actually, taken directly from my 3-day Eagle Mind course. And this entire thing has to do with your mind patterns, working them, figuring them out, navigating your senses, your brain, your mind, and beyond. And so anyone who is out there who has taken my Eagle Mind course understands full well that, yes, your mind patterns draw to you whatever it is that your mind patterns are reflecting. Okay, same energy attracts same energy.
Okay.
So if you're attracting, or if you're putting out there the victim mentality, and you're putting out there that, I'm being attacked all the time, then you will be attacked all the time. And it will not change, ever. To be able to change how heavily you are targeted and how deeply it affects you, you have to isolate those mind patterns and change them from the inside out. So this is a part of energy protection that I will not get into tonight because it is a vast topic. I mean, it took me 3 full days just to teach it. And so you have to understand that the energy protection techniques work, but it's your mind patterns that help to draw and attract the attacks in the first place. I'm not saying that if you change your mind patterns that you will never be attacked again. I'm saying that you will be better buffered because your mind will automatically help to protect you in your daily life by not directly attracting the attacks.
So we can actually pull in an attack to ourselves by our own self-defeating mental wavelengths.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, definitely. And this is actually part of most people's programming. Okay? Self-sabotage is actually a sub-program that is downloaded into every specifically programmed individual, and most generally programmed individuals. Okay? And it's there to keep you in a vulnerable state, so that you rely upon the programs. It makes it very difficult to get out of your programs. It makes it very difficult to navigate your altered personalities. And it continually leaves an opening for the handlers to access and target you. Okay? Because it's a weak spot in your mind patterns. It's a weak spot in your energy that you are creating from the inside out. But you either brought that weakness in your mind with you from a simultaneous life, and it was downloaded into you as part of your program matrix. Either way, it works the same. Either way, it's an area that needs worked upon. It needs to be strengthened. And this takes a great amount of time and work. So in the meantime, we deal with frequencies for energy protection, and we layer these frequencies. And the main frequency genre that is used is the frequency of shape and the frequency of color. You can also interject the frequency of element, which is actually more along the lines of advanced energy protection. And I might touch on that near the end of this little session here.
Mm-hmm.
But the most protective color, the single most protective color, is the color violet. Now, not because it's the color violet, because it is a frequency. And the frequency literally acts as a filter, okay, like a charcoal filter for water. The violet frequency itself allows beneficial energies to penetrate it, but it does not allow non-beneficial energies to penetrate it. So that's a very unique thing about violet. You can utilize violet simply as an energy filter. And so this is one of the main colors we use in energy protection. Another color that we use in energy protection is the color silver. This is a very high level frequency color that is actually a physical representation of the frequency that makes up our, what I call, complete self. Some people call oversoul, some people call higher self, etc., etc. It is the bulk energy consciousness of which we come out of into physical reality. And it resonates at the color silver, or the frequency silver. And the third color that we use in energy protection is the color gold. Because gold is a resonant frequency of literally the source of life. And you may call that whatever you want. My childhood teacher termed it the Great Spirit. And this resonates at the color or frequency gold. So these are the three colors we're looking at right now. And then we have to look at shape. Each one of these shapes that I'm going to try to verbally draw out for you should be in violet. In violet. And the first shape you want to focus on is a four-sided pyramid. That means it has three sides on top and a base. Mm-hmm. All right, so it's got four sides. This shape should surround you. You should stand in the center of this shape. Now remember, in energy work, in frequency work, size has no meaning. So the pyramid should be in violet. It means it should be drawn in violet and it should be filled in violet. So you should be standing inside of a violet pyramid, and all around you should be like a violet mist or a violet smoke or a violet fog, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to visualize. If you know your core element, water, fire, earth, air, you can visualize that element inside the pyramid surrounding you in violet. If water is your core element, then you draw a four-sided violet pyramid around you and you fill it with violet water. Now, once you have drawn this four-sided violet pyramid around you, and I should take a step back. Before you do this, you want to make sure that you focus on the energy around you, your energy. You want to try to feel the energy field, your energy field around you. And mentally suck it in close to your body. Your energy field may be 7 feet away from you. All right? It doesn't matter. You want to pull it in as close to your body as possible. Ideally, you want to pull it in until it's about 2 inches evenly all around you. This will take time. This will take focus. But the more you practice and focus, the easier it will get. And once you pull that energy in all around you, your energy, then you draw the four-sided violet pyramid around you and fill it with violet. If you know your element, fill it with your element in the color violet. Now the next part of this shape is actually a four-sided pyramid or diamond. And so the diamond will be, the top half of the diamond will be a four-sided diamond with no bottom. So it will be a point with 4 slabs coming down, 4 triangles coming down. They will start above you, and the bottom of these slabs will end halfway down the four-sided pyramid. It will also be drawn in violet. And then you will create the exact opposite underneath you. Again, there will be a point below you. And there will be 4 triangles spreading up to meet the top triangles that came down. So it is literally a violet diamond that has 4 sections all the way around it. I'm not positive, but I believe the name of that shape is a tetrahedron.
Yes.
Okay.
I've also heard it called a holon.
A holon, okay. I haven't heard that term. All right, so you have a violet four-sided pyramid surrounded or contained in the center of a violet tetrahedron. Now, you want to repeat this 3 times. So after you complete this first shape around you in violet. And again, make sure that tetrahedron is filled completely with violet. Again, if you know your element, it can be your element in the color violet.
And these are the 4 elements: air, fire, earth, and water, right?
Correct. I think we touched on this
right in the last show.
Okay. Okay. Now, that is one complete frequency set. Now, outside of that complete frequency set, you are going to visualize another 4-sided violet triangle or pyramid. And in the very center of that violet 4-sided pyramid will be that first complete frequency shape set. And then around that 4-sided violet pyramid, you again create a violet tetrahedron. Again, fill them both in with violet, and if you want, your element. One more time. On the outside of that one, you create another violet pyramid, filling it in with violet. And then outside of that, you visualize the last violet tetrahedron, and you fill it in. And you are still standing at the center of that first violet pyramid, and you're surrounded by all of it. Now, once this surrounds you completely, through and through violet, the next step is to create 3 violet spheres around these shapes. So in other words, you're creating 3 violet bubbles, like concentric rings, around the totality of those 3 frequency shapes. Each of those spheres, or concentric rings, should be in violet. Outside of the 3rd violet sphere, you want to visualize 3 silver spheres. And each one of the silver spheres should be filled in with silver. So they are not hollow bubbles. And then, outside of the 3rd silver sphere, you want to create 3 golden spheres. Each one should be filled in with the color frequency gold. You should now be surrounded by 9 spheres. 3 violet, 3 silver, 3 gold. Now, there are some people who teach to place a mirror on the outside of your energy protection techniques. And the mirror should be facing out. However, in the training facility, when we were training in astral assassination, we were taught how to dismantle mirror energy. We were taught how to find it, see it, and dismantle it. And it's not that hard to do if you have any kind of training at all in it. So I personally do not like the mirror technique. What is a real booger to dismantle and get through is the color frequency black. So outside of those 9 colored spheres, I like to place 3 spheres of solid black. The frequency black is good enough. However, if you really want to put your imagination into it, you can make it thick, heavy black, copious smoke. You can make it thick black tar or mire. All right? You are protected from the blackness. Remember, you're at the very center of that first violet pyramid. That black cannot affect you at all. That black is simply like the bark of a tree. It does not affect or touch in any way the heartwood of the tree. All it does is it shields and protects the outside of the tree. The black, what it's doing is it's preventing an outside energy from accessing your energy protection frequency and dismantling it from the outside in. Now, if you just put 1 violet pyramid around you and 1 violet tetrahedron, and you leave it at that, I guarantee you, especially if you're a specifically targeted individual, it will be gone in an hour. If you put 3 around you and do nothing else, it won't even last half a day. If you use those 3 and then 3 violet spheres, okay, this will shield you from most lightweight energetic annoyances or lightweight attacks that really don't have any purpose behind them. Mm-hmm. But anything more than that, it'll go through. When you add the silver and the gold, now you complete the protection frequency. Now you want to protect that frequency so that it lasts much longer. And that's where the black comes in. I have utilized this frequency with the black under heavy bombardment with great success for 24 hours. After 24 hours, if you are being heavily bombarded, you have to redo it. If you are generally attacked, in other words, it's just more or less the aggravation of the ELF or the cell waves or radio waves or microwaves that are just in the atmosphere, this technique, this frequency protection technique, could serve you for up to 3 days.
Wow.
As long as you're not dismantling it from the inside. If you're using that black around you, okay, around that protection technique, and in 3 hours it's gone or it's full of holes, you're doing it from the inside. Okay. So that technique right there, the reason I teach it is because I use it and it works. Now, it's going to take some time to practice that visualization, to be able to get it all down. It's like anything else. It takes time, it takes practice. Practice makes proficient. However, what helps to increase the ability is need. Need is sometimes the greatest teacher. So if you're being heavily bombarded, you have need. And so you are going to be focusing on this a whole lot more than somebody who's just toying with it because they have, a little bit of stress overload from the energies that are just existing in the atmosphere of the office space. This will protect you from an annoying boss or an annoying coworker.
Mm-hmm.
This will protect you from an astral entity, trying to bombard you from the outside. This will protect you from satellite bombardment. This will shield you from certain cult groups, okay? This will shield you from anything except an inside attack. If you have astral attachments, this you will find will not work so well because the astral attachment is on the inside of it. All right? You've locked the burglar in the house, and the burglar will simply take everything and break the window to get out. Okay? So if you have astral attachments, you need to deal with those first. You need to get rid of those before this protection technique will serve you. However, if you don't have attachments, this will work. If it doesn't work, you're not doing it right. Remember, self-sabotage, many times, and a lot of my students and clients can attest to this, you will forget half of what I tell you because that aspect of you, the self-sabotage aspect, shuts down that aspect of your memory.
Yes.
Which is why I put all this stuff on CDs. This technique can be found on in my... I think it's in my self-healing DVD set is where this, among many other techniques, is found. And I put it on CDs and DVDs so that people can listen to it and watch it again and again and again until it beats the self-sabotage and they get it. But if you're just listening to this and you try to do it and you come back in 2 weeks and says, wow, this doesn't work, go back and listen to it again and make sure you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Because, what I found is 90% of the time, at least, people are listening and then they're doing it wrong because they got messed up in the technique. You were going to say something, Randy?
Well, what I was going to say is probably what I'll do with this is what I did with the last show on grounding. We took that exercise that you went through, and that's actually up on the website as a separate audio file that you can download, put on your iPod or MP3 or phone, and carry it with you. And that's kind of a tool that you can access. The other side of it is probably they should consider picking up some of the resources that you have on your website as well and really going into depth in it.
Yeah, because, what I'm presenting here on the radio show is definitely really hardcore practical information.
Sure, yeah.
But it's also limited as to what I can present in an hour show. And so, yes, this is a complete energy protection technique. But at the same time, there are so many different angles and facets and dimensionality to this that I cannot possibly present here. So that is found in other stuff that I have on my website.
And I know you brought up astral attachments, and I know somebody out there is going to bump up against that wall. Are there resources that people can access on your website or anything that you suggest in terms of beginning to deal with that?
I am actually in the process of making a CD set that goes into detail on how to deal with this. I do not have it completed yet. That is stuff that I do teach in a lot of my courses. As a matter of fact, one that's coming up this fall called the Complete Self/Oversoul course. It's a 3-day course. That's covered in great detail in there. But as far as it goes, as far as a listening or visual thing, I don't have that out yet.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely something I do address and deal with. Okay, and as far as the shielding, this is definitely energy protection, and you mentioned that some people were asking about how do I cloak myself.
Yeah, stating, I think the term one person gave me was hidden energetically and strategies for dealing with all kinds of stalking, harassment, things like that, on an energetic level, basically.
Yeah. And that is another very strong reason as to why I use black. 3 levels of black around this protection frequency, because black is a cloaking device. If you're walking down the street and you feel exposed, if you surround yourself in 3 spheres of black, you automatically cloak your energy. So long as you have actually drawn your energy in close to your body first, and then cloak yourself in 3 levels of black, this does wonders for cloaking your energy. We were taught this in great detail and worked it to great proficiency in the training facility. Because of the work we did, we had to be cloaked most of the time. So, the frequency of black, most people are taught to avoid because of all kinds of negative connotations.
I've heard that for years, too.
Yeah, but black is a very useful tool, all right? Now, I'm not telling you to fill yourself with black, because you should not do that. I'm not saying that you should fill somebody else with black. That is a very non-beneficial thing to do. I'm saying put black around you. And this helps to cloak your energy. It makes it very difficult, especially 3 levels. Especially if you've done the energy protection inside of those 3 levels. It makes it extremely difficult to view your energy. I remember where I taught this technique. It was in my remote viewing course.
Okay.
Which is on that DVD set. And what I did is I had people tap into each other's frequency in the class and read each other. And then at the end of the class, I had everybody cloak themselves. I had them use this exact technique, and then I had them use the 3 levels of black around. And then I had them try to tap their frequencies. And nobody in there could get through it and read anything. As a matter of fact, one student in there who had been studying my stuff before, she had herself just automatically cloaked because she's been doing it for years. And she wasn't even thinking about it. And her partner was getting really frustrated because he couldn't read anything. And then she remembered, I'm cloaked. And she took all that down, and then he could read. So this stuff works. It works very well. And this is actually a technique that was taught to us in the training facility. And then I brought it out, and I've used it with great success. But you have to cross-check it. Check in with it a number of times a day. And make sure that you have not dismantled it, okay? Make sure that it's not being eroded from the inside out. Now, what about a quick little energy protection? Let's say you're in a crowd of people, or you're in a movie theater, say, or in a shopping center, and there's just people all over the place. Mm-hmm. Right? You want to wear yourself out. Go shopping and then come home.
This is me.
You're exhausted.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, yeah.
And people say, how can shopping wear me out so much? How can going to town wipe me out? And the reason is because your energy is wide open, and your energy is being mixed and bombarded by the energy of all the people walking around you. All right? It's like in those, those like Harry Potter movies where the ghosts go right through the kids when they're walking through the hallway, you know?
Yeah.
This is what's happening when you're amongst a group of people. Your energy is just out there wherever it is, okay? Your outer energy field, which a lot of people call the aura. Your aura is out there, and it's out all over the place. Well, so is everybody else's. So when you're in a crowd, you're mixing energies. And this is exhausting. So to remedy this situation, before you get into a crowd, suck your energy in, okay? Your aura, whatever you want to call it, that outer energy field, suck it in as close to your body as possible. Again, if you can, condense it down to like 2 inches all the way around your body evenly. And then, put yourself in brown. Heavy brown. That means a brown sphere like we did last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. And then outside of that, put 3 levels of violet. Okay, 3 violet spheres. This will contain ground and protect your energy field, and it will keep other people's energy out. Now you can say, well, what if I'm standing elbow to elbow with somebody, in a ticket line? How is that going to work? Remember, when we're dealing with this stuff has no space limitations. Only our physical perceived reality has space limitations. But when we get outside of that, there is no space limitations, meaning that when you're standing elbow to elbow, that energy work that you're doing completely contains, seals, and protects your energy, no matter if you're laying on top of the other person. So try this the next time you're out. And it's going to be mentally challenging at first, all right? Because it's like using a new muscle, holding that focus. But the more you practice it, the easier it gets. And the easier it gets, the less energy you put into it. And then you will notice that sure enough, you can go shopping in the middle of the most obnoxiously crowded mall and walk out feeling fresh. Because you're not mixing energies with other people. And a really good way to reset your brain after you get out of such a chaotic, crowded situation, when you get outside, take 3 or maybe 6 really, really deep, complete breaths like we did in the grounding exercises. Breathing helps to recenter your mind and your body. Because a lot of times you can come out of these places and you feel lightheaded, dizzy, confused, hard to focus. Use the breathing to recenter and then do that grounding exercise and you'll be right as rain. And don't forget to put the protection around you. So in an hour session here, that is an extremely powerful energy protection. 2 versions of it. A really complete one and a very simple one that you can do anywhere at any time. If you're in a city and you're trying to hail a cab and you get in the cab and you go, whoa, this cab driver's energy is a little more than I want to deal with. Boom. Suck that energy in, put the brown, put the 3 levels of violet, and sit in relaxation. Simplicity works. These are simple techniques, simple shapes, simple colors, combined in a strategy that creates a very unique frequency. And there's some people out there will go, how do I know this works? How can that possibly work? Well, do it. You'll find out.
Well, I can tell you that the grounding technique works. I intensified that over the last 2 weeks. And, wow, that's made a big difference. The things that's show number 2 for the archives, by the way, the show on grounding. It makes a big difference. And if you work at it, which is what I've been doing, if you go through these shows, or if you get White Wolf's material, you've got to work at it. It's a daily discipline to do it. And I would probably suppose, White Wolf, that in the initial stages, you're going to want to do this stuff as often as you feel the need to do it, if you feel your energy wearing down, or if you feel like you're being invaded or intruded.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And if you're and remember, your self-sabotage will try to trip you up all the time. So if you're doing this, and then one morning you get up and you go, oh, I got to go to the store, and you go to the store, and you're in the store, and there's people everywhere, and you're getting all like frazzled and worn down, and you go, oh, duh, I forgot to do the technique. Okay? That's all right. Let everything go. And I think next session I'm going to touch on release work. And so we'll get into this. You just let everything go. Put yourself around, in the protection technique. And then on the inside of all that, flood yourself with pale green. A very, very pale green. This will actually give you energy back. This is a very energizing color. It is the color frequency of the lymph system, but it's also a very energizing color. A lot of people will use this color before exercise or before some tolling physical activity to boost their stamina. So if you're getting out there and it's a little too late and you go, oh, I forgot to do it. It's not too late. You can fix it.
Excellent stuff, and I think you probably addressed at least all of part of, if not all of, kind of where we wanted to go tonight, because these are very much spiritual protection strategies, and I know there's a couple of people out there that I will send this show to personally who need to hear it, especially coming up this week.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, the solstice. Yeah, the solstice is a big ritual time, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's a whole other topic. But, you know, if I didn't do these techniques every day, diligently every day,
you'd be toast. I
would go nuts, yeah. I'm already nuts, but, you know, that'd be over the top.
Well, it's certainly, and again, I need to thank you for sharing this and for putting it out there for people to be able to sample, because I've really gotten a sense lately of just how big the problem is. The longer this website's up, the longer we do these shows, the more people are surfacing. And so there's a lot of people out there that need this information. And again, put your website out there and a little bit about what you're up to right now.
Ways of the Wild Institute, based here in the northern Green Mountains of Vermont. And right now I am in the very beginning of the first block of the apprenticeship program. So I am extremely busy for the next 3 weeks working with the apprentices who have come in. They are out in the middle of the wilderness right now, where they are living for 3 solid weeks. That's 24/7 for 3 solid weeks. And I go out there on a daily basis. Many times I spend the night. We do day training, night training. It's not just about survival skills. It's not just about wilderness living skills. I'm also dealing with a lot of deprogramming work, self-healing work, tapping into people's pasts, you know, helping them deal with things. Some of these people are using it as an actual sanctuary to get away from everything, and they're using it as literally a 3-week consultation to really get down to the bottom of things. So I'm quite busy with that right now. July, right around the corner, I have my 3 full-day awareness course. That is internal awareness and external awareness. It's a very popular course that I've been running for a few years now. Students who come for this, they really enjoy themselves. It's not a heavy course like a lot of this stuff. I bring you out into the mountains with me, and we work on the many different levels, 7 layers and 9 levels of awareness, and it transforms people's lives completely. Because Meech Ghislaine, my childhood teacher, always told me that awareness is truly the key to life, and your proficiency and skill at awareness, both internal and external, dictates 100% the quality and depth of life you are able to attain and live. So I put a huge focus on awareness, and that is coming up in July. And of course, I just released my Eagle Mind DVD set, which comes 10 full-length DVDs plus an entire typed-out packet of information. And that was filmed at my last Eagle Mind course, which took place at the beginning of May. And that was a 3 full-day course. And that is on my store, and I just also put an article on my blog, which is, again, on Ways of the Wild Institute. I'm also working on getting webinars together. Hopefully, I will be able to start offering webinars on all different topics that I teach come August. So be looking for that as well. And that's kind of what is up here in Vermont at this time in June.
Nice. It sounds like you're really putting together a great package. Being able to do webinars is huge, because I know personally you've got people out there that are distant right now and really wish they could get into the Green Mountains, but still need to access the information. It's great stuff.
True. I have a guy from Finland right now out in the mountains for the apprenticeship program. Yeah. So it's good. It's all good.
Well, White Wolf, as always, we thank you for sharing, and we wish you the best over your wilderness training course, over your other endeavors up there in Vermont, and I guess we'll sign off for now with this session. I'm Randy Moggins for OffPlanetRadio.com, and this has been The Healing Path with White Wolf on Atzigen. We'll see you next session.